like, why are you disrespecting Modi? I was like, dude, I'm just kidding. Modi's my friend.
I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points?
I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this sword.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope you all had a nice Thursday night. Hope you all didn't bet the Houston Rockets. Shout out to everyone except the Houston Rockets. That game was like a 2-point game for 3.5 quarters. It was like every single time I had it on the small TV, and every single time I looked, it was like Rockets up 2, Minnesota up 1, Rockets up 3. That was just neck and neck the whole game. Minnesota wins. These guys got lucky.
It's almost as if somebody told you that was going to happen.
Yeah, almost. Yep.
I will say I entering the show, I thought it was a sketchy line. After listening to you guys talk, at least the line made sense a little more. Whatever. Fuck them. I also put down a half unit on Golden State money line. Obviously half unit. But I was actually confident. I almost bet. I don't know if you guys were sitting there watching these games last night, but I wanted to bet Golden State live when they were down like 24, and I wanted to bet the Pacers live when they were down like 24. I didn't pull the trigger on either, but both would have covered the live line easily. Didn't take it. But yeah, let's talk Friday, and this is a challenge here. Every single game either has a major injury question mark, or we're talking about a team that has brand new pieces that we don't even know how they're going to fit into the rotation yet, or both. That's what we're dealing with here. Had some trouble. We'll talk through it. This first game is Spurs on the road in Charlotte, and I think this total is a little low. I need LaMelo Ball to play, though. If LaMelo Ball plays, in my opinion, this total should be 237. Like the pace at which the Spurs are playing right now, and the Hornets play with a much faster pace as well when LaMelo Ball plays. So I'm looking towards an over here. If LaMelo Ball plays, maybe a Hornets team total over, but you don't even have to put the Hornets team total over up. Just the over is fine for me. Oh yeah, thank you. If Melo plays. So yeah, if LaMelo Ball plays, I think this over should be. I don't want to use the word layup, but I think this should be a great bet if LaMelo Ball plays. But if he doesn't play, we all know how terrible that Hornets offense is. I mean, we're talking about one of the worst offenses in the NBA when LaMelo Ball is not out there. So how could we be holding an over ticket with the Hornets offense without LaMelo Ball? So that's what makes it real tough, because it's such extremities. When LaMelo Ball plays, the Hornets offense is actually pretty good. When he doesn't play, they're the worst in the NBA. And also when LaMelo Ball doesn't play, the pace slows down for Charlotte. They slow it down to a crawl. So it makes it even more tough, because the Hornets without one player are two completely different basketball teams. So I couldn't put any money down, but those are my thoughts on the game. Ski, Chris, do you agree, disagree with anything I just said?
No, I agree with what you were saying. And I bet this game last night. I bet over 225.5. I still think they get 230 plus. And I think the line, like between the over skyrocketing like this and the side going down towards Charlotte, I think that's telling us kind of that LaMelo is going to play. So like you said, he's going to help the pace, going to help the offense. And this Spurs team, I mean, they're playing fast and they haven't been playing a whole lot of defense. If you just look at their gameplay, well, for one, the pace numbers last 5 are second. So just to put numbers to what I'm saying, but just 7 of their last 8 games have had 230 plus. They can score all over this Hornets team, and I think that they'll give it up to, especially if LaMelo plays. So even if he doesn't, I think they can make it to this number. It'll just be a bonus if we get him.
Yeah, and I watched the Spurs-Hawks game, which was their last game, in its entirety, because I had the over in that game, and I had the over at 241.5. That's a super high total. It was sweat-free. Like, I knew I had it from midway through the first quarter. Like, oh, shit, this is flying over. And it ended up only winning by 8 points, but I watched the entire game, and for not 1 minute was I doubting my over, just because the pace that they were playing at. So, yeah, I agree with Ski. 225.5 is a nice ticket to be holding right now. Chris?
Yeah, Cal, you remember I said it was 2:43 by the time we did the show. I said, Cal, would you still play it? You said, yeah, probably so. And I probably should have pulled the trigger because that, like you said, that was sweat free. Ski definitely got the better line here. I think everything that you all think. So I won't add anything. Definitely an over game if LaMelo plays. This is the prop bet though, so I want to hear what prop you guys say to this. I took Victor Wembanyama under his 3.5 assists, right? So this play is predicated on CP3 being there, of course. De'Aaron Fox having 13 assists on 19 potentials. I just think that Wemby's going to see a lot less playmaking usage in this game. Like his points prop now listed at 25.5. To me, it makes more sense that he's not going to be the facilitator with everybody else trying to get him the ball to actually score. So yeah, I played him under. CP had nine potentials and 9 assists in the last game. Fox had 13 assists on 19 potentials, and Wemby had 5 potentials, and he finished with just 2 assists. So I think we continue to see the same thing. And let's not say LaMelo doesn't play. Then we see this Charlotte Hornets team play at a super slow pace, and they're 25-1 to the under as a home dog this season. Most of those games didn't have LaMelo, but yeah, I think Wemby stays under his 4 assists today. So I did bet Wemby under 3.5 assists.
Wemby under 3.5 assists. That's an interesting one from Chris there.
I think real quick, probably. I think we're going to see this number continue to drop. Not that it's going to be like 2.5, like the next game or something. Mm-hmm. But with De'Aaron Fox on the team, I just kind of feel like him and CP3 running the offense, Wemby's not going to have to facilitate as much.
I mean, I definitely agree from that perspective. I mean, now you have 2 certified playmakers. I mean, I don't know if I'd say Fox is a certified playmaker, but you do have 2 playmakers on the floor right there. And if you're looking from a potential assist standpoint, let's just say he has 7 potential assists because he had 5 in a game against the Hawks, one of the fastest paced teams in the league, right? So let's say he has 7 against the Hornets, a team that's a bit slower in pace. Even if they have LaMelo on the floor, they'll be a bit faster in pace, but slower than the Hawks, right? So 7 potential assists here. This is a guy who's under in 73% of his games this year. You're getting that in -110. I think that'd be some pretty great value for you there. So yeah, I think that's a pretty good look, Chris.
All right.
Let's
move on to game number 2.
Prop Beaver approved.
Cleveland on the road to Washington. We're talking about an 18-point line. Are we really trying to lay 18 points to one of the hottest teams in the... No, I'm joking. They are on a 3-game winning streak, though. It's funny. My brother's a Wizards fan, and obviously, like, he gave up on the team, as he usually does, about 4 weeks into the season. And I texted him, like, a week and a half ago. My brother is a Wizards fan, and I was like, I sent him a Cooper Flag YouTube highlight reel, and I was like, dude, this is why you get, this is what you get excited for, like, because he's not like the biggest NBA fan, but he does like the Wizards, and I was like, this is why you should be excited if you're a Wizards fan. This guy right here, and he watched it, and he was like, oh, this is sweet, like, we're going for this guy. We probably won't get him, but like he got some motivation back in the Wizards that they were going to get the first overall pick or have a good chance to do so. Since that text, the Wizards have now won 3 straight games. So he just got back into it like, oh, let's tag for this guy. And now they start winning. So I have no idea what's going on with Washington or what to expect with this new lineup. I'm assuming both of you guys are going to say the same thing. Who the hell knows? I think we all agree if Cleveland wants to win this game by 25 plus, they can. So yeah, I got nothing here.
I'm not going to waste the people's time.
Yeah.
17 points. Yeah, I'm just, we'll just move to the next.
Chris?
Interesting prop bet in this game. Donovan Mitchell up and over his 5.5 assists. So Wemby under, Donovan Mitchell over. He's hit it in 7 of his last 10 games when he's playing against teams that are top 10 in pace, but also bottom 10 in assists allowed. 7 straight games where he's had 6 or more assists, and we can move on to the next one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 239, the total makes sense. Washington runs a fast. Well, actually, I don't even know what Washington does anymore, so scratch that.
They still run a fast pace, Kyle.
I don't know, but they're like the defense looks all right. Whatever. I don't want to talk
about it.
They
were playing against Brooklyn, Kyle.
I mean, all right. Milwaukee.
Charlotte.
Milwaukee, Atlanta. I was pissed at this one. So I recorded my YouTube video that a lot of you may have watched, and when I recorded this one, I kind of talked myself into an over. At the time, it was 238. And I was like, you know what? Like, you guys heard the video. I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to grab this over 238.5. I see a 238.5. I think I'm going to grab it. So I finished recording the video. I go to bet it. It's up at 240.5, and now it's 242.5. So I decided I liked the over. Line was already gone before I even placed the bet. I do think it probably still goes up and over. Am I trying to bet 242.5? Not really, but you could put a graphic up for me. Pretty simple. What we've seen from these two teams in the last handful of games, both offenses look great. In fact, the Bucks offense, other than that one Oklahoma City game where they rested everybody, the Bucks offense has looked pretty good over the last 10 games. So the Bucks are scoring against a Hawks defense that's fallen off a cliff. And on the other side, so you copy and paste what I just said about the Hawks. They're not playing any defense, playing at a fast pace, scoring points. So I don't know where the stops are coming from here. We should see a similar game to what we just saw in the Hawks Spurs. So yeah, it would be over, but like I said, missed the number. Should have grabbed that 238.5 right then and there when I was recording. I didn't. Now it's 242.5.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying as far as the total going over. Hawks' last 4 games look like they've all had 250 plus. So I don't think this number is too high even right now. But I'll just tell you what I did, and you can take from that what you will. I did a late night show, maybe a little bit after you did a show, and I stopped the show and made 2 bets. One bet was that Spurs total over. The other one was Milwaukee Atlanta over 239.5. So I got a good number. I said that I thought when we wake up or sometime tomorrow we'll see 243. We see 243 right now, and I still don't think it's high enough. Like I said, I think this game can get to 250, especially if you get Giannis out there. So over for me in this game.
Agreed, 100%. And what you did, that's what I should have done. I should have just stopped the recording. Let me go bet this real quick. Then I'll finish the video. Didn't do it. Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I'm just shaking my head because you said you saw 238.5, Kyle. Ski said you said you played 239.5, Ski?
Yeah.
And when I capped it last night, it was 237.5. And I said the same exact thing that y'all said. Yeah. So we all should have probably bet it. Shout out to Ski for actually betting it.
Yeah.
That's all I'll add.
Okay. Next up. By the way, if you're looking for a side there, I believe the Hawks are now 8-2 against the spread. Their last 10 is home dogs. Even a game against the Spurs where they jumped out to a big lead. That Hawks offense looked good in the second half for whatever reason, flying under the radar because they're losing a lot of these games. And a lot of times when a team is covering but not winning, it kind of goes under the radar. It goes unnoticed. But the Hawks have been covering at a high rate, catching points at home. So it might be something to look at if you're looking to play a side there. I personally am not. Miami, Brooklyn, and I talked about Ben Simmons in the video last night, who has been since bought out. I don't know. Without Ben Simmons, I kind of want to play the Heat. I don't know where the points. Actually, you know what? Let Prop Beaver get the poll up real quick because the bet I wanted that I would place here in this one is a bet that Prop Beaver actually did place. So I'll let him go first. Let him get the poll up and everything. Prop Beaver's on a Brooklyn team total under, correct?
Yeah. First off, Anthony Simons, what the fuck was that? God. 6 assists in the first half, none in the second half last night. We're done with ladders plays, folks, so we're done with that. We're never doing one again, and that will be it. We're going to talk about the Brooklyn team total under. It's simple. We have no Ben Simmons on the floor. That means that Brooklyn should not be offered a team total in triple digits. That's how I look at it. Simmons is currently being bought out as we speak. I don't know if he was bought out already at this point, but he provided the Nets a little bit of an offensive spark on his way out. However, without Simmons on the court, Nets are now under this number in 9 straight games at home, averaging 94 points per game. The last 12 or 13 games overall without Ben Simmons, averaging 95 points per game. We're going to face a Miami defense that's finally starting to catch their groove over their last 6 games. They're playing at a snail's pace during that span, just like this Brooklyn team does. On top of that, Miami didn't really trade any of their active pieces at the deadline, so they should be able to keep that defensive momentum. I would play this down to 105. It actually looks like the number's moving against me, oddly enough. I don't really care about that. Love this play. So not really going to overthink that one. This Nets offense is booty cheeks. I don't care that Cam Johnson's back.
You could put that same graphic up for me. Nets team total under. If or either that or Heat -6 is probably where I go. What do you guys think of this one?
Absolutely not Heat -6. I mean, I love the additions that they've made, but they're not there yet. And lately, the Heat have just barely been scraping by wins, I feel like, and losing some games. So I just don't think they've shown me enough to expect them to win by margin right now. And the Nets, they're top 5 defensive rated team last 5 games. They've covered 3 of their last 4. For as bad as, they haven't been able to score, they've been able to cover games. So it'll either be Nets or under for me in this game.
Chris?
Taking a little bit of what you said, Cal, about the team total under, and a little bit what Ski said, because I do agree with that. Not laying this many points with the Heat on the road. They're 4-8 against the number, laying points on the road. They win by an average of 3 points. And you factor in that Brooklyn has double in-season revenge, and teams with double in-season revenge that are rested as well. 12-5-1 against the spread this season. So I know it's a super small sample size, but that's about 71%. It'll only be Brooklyn plus the points, but I like the under more. I think this is an under game. So under and Brooklyn recommendation here. Under 210.5.
Just a trend to throw out there. Brooklyn, I believe, 2-10 against the spread their last 12 without Ben Simmons on the floor. Just saying.
He's
Next
the heartbeat of the team, Benny the Bull. I think you guys are really forgetting about that. So.
Benny the Bull.
I'm not gonna lie, all this Ben Simmons talk is making me sick.
I mean, you're just forgetting.
I always think of the Colin Coward.
Sorry about it.
I always think of the Colin Coward take. He's like, LeBron, we're good. We got Ben Simmons. Legendary clip. Pops up on my feed like once every 6 months. Always gets a like button. What do we got next? Philly on the road to Detroit. I mean, I would love to play the Pistons here if I knew Cade Cunningham was playing. I watched every minute of that Sixers, not the Heat. Who'd they play before the Heat?
The Mavs.
I watched every minute of that Sixers-Dallas game, and Philadelphia looked like a completely different team on the defensive side of the ball when Embiid was on the floor. I don't know if he's just rusty. Maybe he's just not fully back yet. Whatever. This isn't an Embiid bash session. But it was very clear Philadelphia would take a lead. Embiid comes back on the floor. Dallas takes the lead back. Then Embiid leaves the floor. They go on a 12-2 run and take the lead again. His plus minus was like -12 or -14, and Maxi's was +18. So it was very clear. I'm not exaggerating. That's legitimately what it looked like, that game. He looked out of place on the defensive side of the ball. He was getting beat on the boards. People just out hustling him to rebounds. Again, I'm not trying to turn this into an Embiid bash session, but maybe I'm going to need to see him play a complete defensive game before I handicap him as a positive impact on the team, especially considering Philadelphia was trending in the right direction before he returned. They were scoring some points, maybe not playing the best of defense, but they were scoring some points. Yabusele was playing some serious minutes and looking great. So if Embiid's playing, I don't look at Philadelphia in a positive light right now. So on the road against a Pistons team that really isn't that bad, not laying points. I would lean towards Detroit, maybe towards Detroit money line. But like I said, Cade Cunningham's status, it sucks. Listed as questionable. If I knew Cade Cunningham was playing, I'd hit this right now. This is a bet I would place. But not knowing the status of Cade Cunningham puts us in a real difficult position.
Some positive news is that he did participate in shoot around.
Okay. Ski, disagree, agree?
Yeah, I would need Cade in. Other than that, Tobias Harris playing his former team, I might look at his props. And outside of that, Maxi's been pretty consistent. I don't really care that Paul George and Embiid are back. I think they need Maxi, so I think you get a discount on his props when they're in the lineup. I would look at him or Tobias in this game.
Yeah, and that's another thing with Paul George. Now I know Paul George, he didn't miss a whole chunk of games like Embiid did, but Philadelphia was playing so well with guys like Maxi, Yabusele, Oubre, Eric Gordon. Like, those are the guys that had the ball in their hands. And now you get Embiid and Paul George back. Not saying they're not better than those guys, but something was working there for Philly. And you get two players the caliber or the star power of Paul George and Joel Embiid on the court. Obviously, they're going to have the ball in their hands. It's just everything positive I saw from Philadelphia over the last 2 weeks. All of a sudden, I'm like, well, I don't know if I trust any of that now that Paul George and Embiid are thrown back into the rotation. Because if you remember, Philadelphia didn't look all that great rewind 2-3 weeks ago when all these guys were out there. So, yeah, I lean towards the Pistons. Chris?
Same. Copy and paste everything you said before Ski went, Kyle. That's exactly how I feel about the game. I said the same exact thing on my show earlier. And the other thing, too, Kyle, is Gershon Yabusele also listed as question.
I know. He's like the man. He's the man.
Yeah, you want him in. So, yeah, I'm not going to waste people's time. It'd be Detroit in this spot for me, too. Not looking towards Philly.
I watched a few of those Philadelphia games recently. I bet the over in a couple of them. I bet Philly in a couple of them. And there's several times where it's like, Yabusele's the best player on the court right now. Like, he was so good. He looked awesome. So if he doesn't play, I like it even more. What is this? Toronto, Oklahoma City.
19-point spread, folks.
Looking like Oklahoma State on the road at Houston type of line in the Big 12.
Lay it.
No, I guess I would lean towards. I don't know. Actually, pass.
Yeah.
Shall we
Go
just
ahead
go to the
and
next game?
pass it again. Yeah.
Chris.
All right.
I didn't bet it either, but it would be OKC though. It would be OKC. I think like it's hard to like lay this many points, right? Like I get it, but when you look at what OKC's done, you won't find a team that consistently covers the spread with this big of a number. Like you just won't. Like that's the way that they play now. You look at Toronto with no RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl's out, so no rebounding, which is what they had an advantage for. Scratch all that. Chet Holmgren's now off the injury report. Like how many points did Toronto score tonight? This could legit be like 125 to like 74. So I know 19 is a big number, but and we talk about OKC not covering all the time. Their last 3 games for OKC, I mean, they just beat Phoenix by 31, the Bucks by 29, the Kings by 34. 19 don't even seem like that big of a number when you win their game by 25. So that's the only way that I would look. I know they got a first leg of a back-to-back. They play Memphis tomorrow. I get that. Teams laying 17 points or more are 6-1 against the number since the beginning of the season. So the books are putting the line high enough so that they're like, people like all 3 of us are like, I'm not betting this game.
Well, you're forgetting a key aspect though. Shed's open.
Oh God!
Oh,
so he's gonna stop SGA from getting to 50 tonight.
I'm just saying it's open.
Look, so Kyle, peep this. So OKC has laid 15 points or more 6 times this season. How many times do you think they've covered?
4.
5.
How many of those 6 instances was Jamal Shed on the floor?
None, because they were laying 10.
So they're 0-0 against the spread against Shed.
But they were laying 10 against Toronto in Toronto. They won by 30.
Which did Shed play in the game?
I think he did play in that one.
I'd like to confirm that.
I need a Shed check.
Shed's open. All right, I'm going to check the game to see if he played. He only saw 12 minutes, and that's probably why they lost by 30. Next up, Utah Phoenix. Selman in our group loves the Jazz here. He's got the Jazz money line. So if you're in the group, you know who Selman is. He likes Utah a lot, and I tend to agree with him. That's the side I lean. I was talking about it the other day. We have seen a slight increase in production since Utah has gotten, I can't say healthy, because now Sexton and like they're not healthy right now, but the front court is healthy. And I'm referring to the likes of Walker Kessler, John Collins, Lauri Markkanen. When those 3 guys are on the court, I'm not saying the backcourt for Utah doesn't matter. Just saying they do have some depth there. I mean, they do have guys. I mean, you're going to have Collier out there. You're going to have Keontae George.
Your boy Sensabaugh.
Yeah, you're going to have Collier. You're going to have Keontae George. Sensagoat can handle the ball with the second unit. So the Utah has a little bit more depth in the backcourt. I'm not as worried about an injury to Sexton or Jordan Clarkson. But when they have Collins, Markkanen, and Kessler all healthy, Utah's a good rebounding team. We've seen it. I mean, that dates back to last year. When those 3 guys are healthy, they're active rebounding on both sides of the floor. This is a Suns team that was one of the worst rebounding teams in the NBA. Now bringing in Nick Richards certainly addressed it a bit, but one player doesn't turn a terrible rebounding team into a good rebounding team. Certainly not. They're not as bad as they were, but we're talking about laying 8.5 points to a team that's probably going to beat you on the glass. And if Durant doesn't play, shit, I mean, Utah, if you place a Utah plus 8.5 bet right here and Durant is rolled out, you're probably sitting with a valuable ticket. So, I lean towards Utah as of right now. This is one of the bets. This one and Detroit are the two that I have my finger on the trigger. It's tough with the injuries because obviously if Durant's ruled in, it'll be like, well, shit. But yeah, I want to take the Jazz here. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's the only way I can look in this game. Simply put, like, what has Phoenix done lately to make you believe they can win by 10 points? It's just, I can't see it. They've been losing, as a matter of fact. And now you got Durant and Bill questionable. It's no way my money will be on the Suns. It's Jazz or nothing.
Would you consider a Jazz money line bet, Ski?
Sure. I mean, Phoenix has been losing. They've lost, I think, 4 of their last 5 games. Why can't they lose tonight?
I'm with it. Chris?
They also got Denver tomorrow too, so much bigger opponent tomorrow. I like it. I said the same exact thing that both of y'all said. Only thing I said was I hope KD and Bradley Beal both get rolled in, and then we probably can get a +10, maybe even 10.5, and I'd be cool. I just want to see who's going to be
how much impact do you think Bradley Beal's injury status has on the market? If
maybe
he's
half a point.
If he's rolled in, it might move towards Utah.
That's terrible. That's terrible, Kyle. But to both of y'all point, Suns at the crib are 3-11-1 against the number, covering 21.4% of their games. Utah has covered 3 straight. And to your point, Kyle, like this, I just looked into this when you said it because I was thinking the same thing. I said it on my show earlier. I didn't have the numbers to back it. When Kessler, Marketing, and Collins are all on the floor, the Jazz have the lowest defensive rating that they have, the best defensive rating that they have. Because their rebounding is so good, they're actually a +5.4. And when you think of Jazz, you don't even think about plus with any roster, any makeup of a lineup. So yeah, I'm probably gonna end up betting.
And
Jazz.
remember that was
+8.5 right now.
That was last year too, when those 3 guys were healthy. The Jazz at home. Remember there was like a 2-month stretch where the Jazz at home was almost like an auto bet. This team's like 10-1 against the spread, and their last 11 at home because you're going into Utah in the elevation. They got bigs that are good, and you're gonna lose the rebounding battle. So it's tough to cover numbers. So, yeah, I kind of like this one. That's the last one. Clear the board. I'm sure most of you guys already know where to find these guys' stuff, but in case you don't, Ski's YouTube channel, just type Ski Profit into YouTube. He does a show sometimes 1:30 p.m. Eastern time, sometimes same time as me, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Also, that's his Twitter underneath his face there at Ski Profit. And Chris, is Crispy Cabin 2 Ends. He does a morning show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Appreciate you guys taking the time to come on. Make sure you guys give him some support.
Hey, Cal, real quick. Appreciate you, Cal. Real quick before we leave. This is either going to be like a clean sweep because I don't know if y'all paid attention. We all agree on everything. It was no put the belts up, but like this is going to be really good or really bad.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't think we've ever agreed so much. That's why the show is so short.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. Yeah, there's no controversial games on the board today.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. We'll be back next week.
Yeah. All right, guys. Talk to you guys later. Have a good weekend. All right. Let's bring on Toast to talk about a few college basketball games. There actually are a couple good ones tonight. There's only a few, but I mean, we got UConn St. John's, which is an awesome game. Purdue USC, maybe not so much, but VCU Dayton's a cool one. I am a little hesitant on Toast and Trev's pick on that one. They both like Dayton. And then we got 4 games to get through. First up, VCU Dayton, and we talked about this on the Midnight Show. Both Toast and Trevor like Dayton as home dogs. VCU's definitely been the better team. I get the angle of it's kind of do or die here for Dayton because of the conference standings. If Dayton was to drop this game, they're pretty much locked. They're not catching they're not going to get to the top of the conference. This is it. They need to win this game, or they're looking at a lower seed in the A10 tournament. So this is like almost like a must-win for Dayton is the way it was described to me. Is that enough to make you bet? Take them basically to win a game against a team that we consider to be better than them.
I do. I think that's plenty enough. VCU's obviously been really good. We talked about it last night. It hasn't nearly been as effective on the road, and this will be their biggest test on the road as far as conference play is concerned. They have lost 2 on the road, one of the Bonnies, who Dayton got blown out by, one of them to St. Louis as well. But one thing, the more I was looking into this game, I was looking at shot quality and stuff like that, and the one thing about Dayton is that shot quality thinks they've been a little bit unlucky. Regardless of how you want to take that data, the George Washington game, the UMass game, and the George Mason game, they had them winning. There was one of other games that they had them losing that I was reading in their article today. But point being is that Dayton is, yes, they haven't been great, only 6-4 in conference, but they could easily be, 8-2 or whatnot like that if a couple of things go their way. So I think it's just a matter of time before they get right. I think these teams are a little bit more evenly matched than people give them credit for. VCU is very good, but they're also only 8-2. So Dayton 6-4, as you talked about, this is pretty much Dayton's season on the line as far as the conference is concerned. Obviously, they can play in their conference tournament and make it into the tournament, but this would be a really, really big loss for them if they were to lose this game. So I took the 2 points with the home dog. I think it's around the same right now. I think it's like 1.5 or something like that. I don't think it's changed too much.
Trevor says he still doesn't see any updates on Malachi Smith. You could put up Dayton for me as well, I guess. I don't think I actually bet this.
No, go ahead. Put VC up. VC if you want.
No. I get it. The only time I bet Dayton this year, they won for me. So maybe I should just, hey, Dayton's been good to me, but next game.
Just keep their phone number in your phone book. You can call on them later.
This is the one where I think you and Trevor are overplaying your hand a bit. Oh, no. Trevor was on my side. This should be Purdue comfortably.
Well, I just bet Purdue. So
you said you were leaning USC last night.
I did, and what did I also say? Desmond Claude's injury status is going to be very indicative of how I play this game. He has been ruled out.
You did say that.
So as soon as I saw Claude, I literally did it while you guys were doing the NBA show. I saw that he was out, so I played Purdue minus 12.5. So I still feel the same way about USC, is that they're kind of Jekyll and Hyde. They look really good one game, they look really bad another. But I do think this Purdue team is going to be a completely different animal. And without their point guard facing a team like Purdue that should be able to absolutely shred them with their point guard play, they have, I think at this point, arguably the best point guard in America, Braden Smith. So I just think that USC missing their point guard now on the second game of another road trip out to the Midwest, that's just not a good spot to be in. So like I said, I played Purdue minus 12.5. I think it's crept up a little bit. I would assume they win this game by 15 plus. It's Friday night in Mackey. It should be an okay spot.
I'm confused. If Desmond Claude is ruled out for USC, why am I not seeing any live movement here? Pinnacle still has 13, Circa 13.5, Caesars 13.5. I'm not. Why isn't this line moved?
I mean, I got 12.5, so if it's at 13.5 now, it's only been a half hour. I mean, I'm not saying that he's
a half hour, dude. When an NBA injury is announced, that shit moves in 10 seconds.
This isn't the NBA.
Oh, this is kids ball.
This is JV basketball at its finest. Okay.
Are you saying I should bet Purdue?
Probably not, because I'm ice cold. So I'm not going to tell anybody just to blindly stay on my bets. You've been pretty good at picking and choosing your spots, so I'll let you continue to do that.
I can get a 13.5 and minus 105. That's my best price. 13.5. All right, fuck it. Let's do it. You only live once, right?
Hey, scared money don't make money. Trust me.
That's what I'm told. You only live once.
That's what they keep telling me. I just keep on throwing it up there.
So they keep telling me, and I'm down 13 grand.
Sooner or later, this martingale system has to work out.
All right. Purdue. I'm betting this shit. All right, Purdue 13.5 minus 105. I'm in. Boilermaker up.
Makes me feel better that Trevor feels good about it too, because yeah.
Yeah, you see Trevor score in the standings of the league?
I did not, but
he's not having a good week.
I heard he just doesn't perform well in that league.
He doesn't do good in the spotlight.
He just can't get in and perform when the light's on him the brightest. Hey, I've been there, brother. I've been there. I'm not judging.
I am. Next up.
As he sits at number one in his division.
Probably, can you write down a note? I keep forgetting to do that. We have the St. John's logo super small in our template, and every time we do a St. John's game.
And the UConn logo is rather large.
Yeah, the UConn logo is at 1,200. Drop it down to 1,150, and the St. John's logo is like. But anyway.
So disproportionate.
Just I'll do it. Just like I'll leave a note to do it.
Put a sticky note on his desk.
All right. St. John's, Connecticut. CLV. I got UConn -2, and I think Toast got the same thing. UConn is back. a shellacking over their little brother Marquette. Now, I know this St. John's team probably stronger than Marquette. I mean, I know people are like probably stronger. If they're on a win streak right now, if you take a step back and look at the grand scheme of things, maybe not. They're a little closer than you think, but St. John's,
they're essentially the same.
They're close. That's what I'm saying. But you got St. John's on the road at UConn. Are they getting McNeely back?
Yes.
Getting their guy back. That says 1.5.
Yes, sir.
I'm seeing 4. So our graphics are.
I was about to freak. I was like, what did I miss?
You know what you did? You might not have updated the hour. But anyway,
I did.
Whatever. So
I'll fight you.
this line is 4, by the way. UConn -4. So we did get some CLV. But UConn looks to be improving and finding their groove at the right time here. March is right around the corner. They're getting their guy back. They just went on the road and shellacked Marquette decisively. Controlled start to finish. Now they come back home at Gamble. Place is going to be going crazy against St. John's, who's so overdue for a loss and honestly have been skating by a little bit. They could have lost each of their last 2 games. I know it's crazy to St. John's how good as they've been. I think this one could potentially be a dog walking here. This is going to be a hostile environment for St. John's, and UConn is playing their best basketball right now.
I couldn't agree more. I'm a little hesitant on the dog walking term just because of how I've been the last couple weeks. But I do think this is a very, very good spot for UConn. I agree with everything that you said. Not to mention it's $2 beer night. We've had a lot of success backing these home teams in $2 beer nights. As Trevor alluded to last night, the first $2 beer nights, the first 2 times that we played them, each team was down by like 15.5 and came back to 1. So like Trevor said last night, if you want to play that theme, play the first half for St. John's and UConn in the second half. But like Kyle said, St. John's has been kind of skating through some of these games. They had an overtime win against Xavier. They punished Georgetown, which was like a really weird game because Georgetown has been playing pretty damn good. So that win actually looks pretty good. But they had a meltdown against Providence. They won that game. And then the Marquette game could have went either way. They played really, really well down the stretch, and I will give them that. But I don't know if you're going to see that same defensive intensity tonight in Stores against this UConn team that should be able to punish St. John's in a couple different ways. One thing is that we do know that St. John's can't shoot the 3-ball to save their life. They're one of the worst, if not the worst, three-point shooting team in the country. I think they're 345 out of 360 or something like that. So that's just really, really bad. But the one thing that's positive for UConn is that they don't really defend the 3 well, but the positive thing is everything inside that number they do are inside that 3-point line. They defend very, very well because they're pretty damn big. That's one thing they do well at St. John's is they match up really well with them. Not to mention the fact that UConn has a 3-ball that they can rely on. I understand that they shot 60-some% their last game against Marquette. I don't expect that to happen again. Yeah, so maybe there's a little bit of regression coming there. They shot 12 for 19 from deep, but I do think that we've seen enough from this UConn team that we can rely on this 3-point shot. They've had a couple clunkers in conference play. That's probably expected, but I do think that they're close to that 38-39% as a team. And that's so much, that gives them so much an advantage over St. John's because not only can they shoot the 3-ball, they can shoot free throws. And I know that we always joke about my free throw percentage, but this is another one where there's such a huge difference in a close game, whether it's 2.5 or 4 points. You have one of the, if not the best free throw shooting team in the conference in UConn versus the worst free throw shooting teams in the conference in St. John's. So I think UConn slows this game down to an absolute crawl as much as they possibly can and force St. John's to beat them in the half court, which I don't think they can do. St. John's runs a really, really fast pace. UConn runs a really, really slow pace. So if UConn can just take St. John's out of their rhythm on the road, and I don't think that UConn's going to get beat terribly on the boards. St. John's has done a very good job rebounding, especially on the offensive end. But again, I think that being on the road with UConn in a hostile environment kind of negates that a little bit. So 4, I don't love as much. But definitely at 2 or on the money line, I think that UConn takes care of business.
I'd still play it at 4.
I got to be somewhat cautious here.
Gamble Pavilion, I'm very familiar with. Been there a lot of times. I went to UConn, and Gamble Pavilion's on campus. Some of their home games are played in Hartford, but the ones in Gamble Pavilion, it's smaller, and it gets really loud in there. There's plenty of nights where I went to a UConn game at Gamble Pavilion. Don't really remember anything. Woke up with like a dislocated shoulder. Like it's crazy in there. It's a crime scene in that place. So yeah, it'll be going nuts for this one coming off the big game against Marquette. Next.
I woke up with a dislocated shoulder.
Dude, I went to the UConn Syracuse game at Gamble. I woke up and I don't even remember what happened yesterday. I had to look up to see if we won. I know I was there because I had blue face paint on, but I had no clue what happened. I was legitimately injured, crusted blue UConn blue face paint. I was half white. I may have been assaulted last night. I really don't know. Did we win?
I hope so. Does it matter? I guess no.
We did win, by the way. We upset. We were dogs. St. Louis. That was a Hasheem Thabit year, if you remember the throw.
Wow.
Yep. St. Louis, St. Joe. Oh, I forgot to bet St. Joe's. I liked Trev's pick here. I said I was going to tail him, and I forgot. It's at 6.5 now.
Yeah, 6.5. Yeah.
You're taking St. Louis then, right?
I didn't bet this one. It's going to end up being a pass. I lean St. Louis, yes. St. Joe's been really good. They've been, again, one of those teams where it's kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing. When they play up in competition, they haven't really looked great. When they've played down, like the teams like Duquesne, Davidson, Loyola, Chicago, UMass, they've looked really good. But again, I just think that St. Louis is starting to play well. They are coming off a really massive win against UMass, where they had to come back and they had to exert a lot of effort. But I just feel like these two teams are kind of more matched in that one possession range. I'm not a fan of laying over 6.5 or over 2.5 possessions with St. Joseph's personally. So again, I just think that these teams are a little bit more even than people are giving them credit for. I know that the St. Louis offense hasn't been great lately, but they've been continued to get better through the year. They've actually dealt with some injuries and whatnot. But both of these teams, it's going to be the turnovers is the issue. St. Louis turns the ball over a lot, but St. Joseph's doesn't force a lot of turnovers themselves. So St. Joseph does a really good job of holding on to the ball. But they also don't shoot a whole bunch of threes either. So, again, I just feel like this game's a little bit more even match. Obviously, the market tends to agree with the St. Joseph sides. It's been bumped up to 4.5 to 6 now, 6.5 in some spots. So I still lean St. Louis myself personally with all those points. But, again, I didn't bet it.
St. Joe's are passed, but it's at 6.5 now, so no.
Yeah. At 4.5, you're holding a very good ticket. I would love to be in Vandenbosch's spot.
All right, let's hit let's hit a community parlay. Hit the song.
Community parlay, the parlay we bet, yeah. For the community, we community, making, yeah.
All right, you want to do the polls? No underdog today, right?
Yeah, I don't have an underdog.
Yeah, there's not enough action. It's a weird slate. So, all right, do we even want to put the Cavs money line in?
No, we could put the Cavs spread in if people are sick enough to bet it. But
put the Cavs -18. Yeah. Put a Spurs money line.
If I know this community, they'll be putting the Cavs -18 up there real fast.
Heat money line. Bucks money line. Yeah, that's it. Bucks money line.
You talking about scheduling? College basketball's regular weird scheduling. Today and Sunday, 15 games. On Saturday, 104.
Yeah, Saturday's live show. We got a lot to go through.
Is Scoop coming on Saturday?
Yeah. Oh shit. No, he's not. I gotta reach out to someone. Maybe Kyle Hunter can come on. He did a good job when we had him on. I'll reach out. I got to get somebody for Saturday.
Yeah, that's tomorrow.
Yeah, shit. Oh, what? Trev's in the comments. Is Trev down to do a full Saturday slate? Is he built like that though?
No.
Just depends on how on the podcast tonight, how many beers DB gets.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
He's
Dude's
got
crushing
a
beers.
marathon to prepare
Before
for,
we
bro.
start that show, dude is crushing beers 4 hours before that.
And watching The Office.
All right, Spurs money line will be the first leg.
I got to say thank you to Trevor because we started watching that at Kyle's house, and now I've downloaded 2 seasons of The Office for the planes and stuff like that. So thank you, Trevor.
Trevor said, what's Trevor's show name? It's called the Pump Fake Pod. We'll actually be in there tonight. They do a Friday night show where they go through all 80-something games on it. So you'll see me and Toast in the comments of that. That's tonight at, I think, 10. He does it Friday night. They're live for like 3 hours. They go through legitimately the whole college basketball slate. And I want you to go on ESPN and look at college basketball schedule and just look at how many games that is to go through. It's crazy. So Trevor's channel name is Pump Fake Pod. But me and Toast are going to be live tonight with Trevor and one of his co-hosts for like 20 minutes, picking some of the big Saturday games, and then we're just going to send everyone over there. I mean, I'm not going through 80-something games. They're going to do that. So
if you enjoy our show, you'll really enjoy their show. It's very much the same. They know a lot of the small schools too. They're not just going to gloss over games, so it's very much worth a watch, or at least to have one in the background for sure.
Pistons money line, Thunder -17. So, Jazz money line. They picked the Jazz in that one, and then put Jazz money line. Then put UConn money line.
UConn, say Josh, you got inner interest in this? No? Okay.
This is SMU Stanford. This is the vibe of the show. They're scoring through the slate. They get to Army at American. And Chuck goes, oh, this game's fucking awesome, man. It's also like, Army at American?
Okay, that's cool. Whatever. We listen.
This game's awesome.
Very next game, ACC.
He wasn't being funny or anything, too. He was like, oh, this game's awesome.
You have to restrict that.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the community parlay, who won the first poll?
Who won the first poll? We had the Spurs
money line.
First poll, and then now we got a little bit of a battle.
Put them both in there because we're actually out of
Pistons
games.
and UConn.
Pistons money line, UConn money line, and then who are the second place finishers there? Put Cavs -18 in the last poll. We're gonna put Cavs -18.
Okay.
Heat money line. Thunder -17. That's those between those three. Cavs -18, Heat money line, Thunder -17.
So either the Heat or big spreads coming into this one.
Miranda, by the way, I saw you got first place back in your division. Oh, we should bring up the standings.
I don't want to. I didn't place any bets yesterday. I'm embarrassed.
Oh, that is embarrassing.
I don't want to.
Yeah, I took some losses yesterday too. I'm gonna have to take some. There's only 2 days left to win your division, so I'm gonna have to take some aggressive underdog shots here to catch Helms in the Swamp Monster division. Trev goes about the Army American game. He goes, the game was sick, real close at the end. Sat there. That's Army American.
It was more that you glossed over the ACC game immediately after.
Bro,
that's what got us.
They were so fired up to break down the Army American game. The next game is SMU Stanford, and they're like, it's an ACC game.
If you want it, you can have it.
Not really interested. I'm more of an Army American guy. All right, so someone shout out the odds here. Spurs money line, Pistons money line, UConn money line, Heat money line.
604.
Plus 604. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back later tonight to do a couple of the Saturday games, and then we'll be in the comments for the Pump Fake Pod when they go through the whole college basketball slate tonight. I believe their show starts at 10 p.m. So we'll probably go live at like 9:40 or something just to do a few games before they get started. So, all right, everyone, have a lovely night. Hit me up at the Discord if you need me. If you're in the league, you have 2 hours and 11 minutes to submit. Later.
Stay good.